morning. Can you hear him? He is very loud. Hi. Hi, hello, fella. You purr so loud. Good boy. Good boy. He's a sweetheart. Hi, folks. He knows when to be sweet all the time. Basically all the time. Little stinker. Hi. This will be... he attacked. This will be a shorter breakfast stream for sure. It'll also just be me. I'm going to talk a little bit about Rocko, and then also use that opportunity to show off some photos, because I went through and got some photos, so I thought that might be nice to do. So MTappet says, is Mal doing okay? She's fine. She's honestly just very, very tired because there's been a lot going on for her. She had her stream last night, and I was like, I think it's plenty appropriate for me to just do the stream myself. I was like, I think that's fine. And she said, okay. So she's resting this morning. She's still planning on doing her painting stream at 1. So you will see her on her channel in a few hours to do painting. So she's okay. And I'm okay. I'm okay. I'm doing all right. This has been a situation where, like, you know, when I last had to say goodbye to a cat of mine, it was Sagan, and it was extremely sudden. And that was hard. That was hard to just wake up one day and be like, oh no, like, you know, this was not what I was expecting. And you know, with Rocko, it was a situation more of like, I mean, he was old, and we had watched him grow old, you know what I mean? It was a very, very different experience. And to be honest, the past, I would say basically every time I've been home in the past like 2 years, I have, you know, loved on him and taken like photos with him. Because I was just like, I never knew if it was going to be the last time I saw him, you know, because like he was getting old, he had some health issues, and I was like, this could always be the last time. And having thought that way for the past 2 years, when I was there 2 weeks ago, that was like a very definitive feeling of like, oh no, this time I am 100% sure, like this is going to be the last time I see him. And that's a strange experience. That's a very unique feeling. That's something that I don't think I've experienced before, at least not with my own animal. I'm sure I've probably experienced that with either other animals or maybe even people at some point, but certainly not like a personal pet. So it was a very unique experience of like packing up the car on Tuesday, and you know, I was spending some time with Rocko, and just in my mind, I'm like, this will be the last time that you see him. And even though you know that, like, even though there's been several years of like, I'm watching him grow older, and I'm watching him, have different difficulties, and just understanding that he is going to be gone. Still very hard in a way that I, wasn't expecting, I guess. Much more prepared than Sagan, but also still surprisingly difficult, I guess. Mal couldn't go with me, so the last time she saw him was at Christmas, and Mal and I had actually taken a photo together with him at Christmas, and I had posted that on Twitter or something as our little Christmas photo. And at that time, it was the same thing of this could be the last time that we see Rocko. So I'm glad that we took that photo. But Mal was here, obviously, so whenever I came home on Tuesday, I spent a few hours, actually. Mal and I were in the sunroom, and I got to kind of talk about that experience, which was nice. One of the things that happened while I was home is, from talking with my parents, and then also just being there, it was obvious. It was obvious that Rocko was going to pass, and I got to have some interesting and just really memorable conversations with my parents about it. So when we were there 2 weeks ago, we were there Sunday, Monday night, and then left on Tuesday. And that Sunday night, after Dan had went to bed, me and my mom and my dad stayed up and just chatted for several hours. We chatted in their bedroom, and we were all sitting on the bed with Rocko in the middle of the bed, just resting. And it's hard to explain, but that is a memory I think I'll have forever. There's certain times in your life where something, for whatever reason, it could be happy, it could be sad, it could be it's in some way influential. There was one of those moments. I haven't felt one of those moments in a long time, and having that moment was very surreal. Of oh, this is one of those moments. This is being hard written into my memory that I won't forget. And I do. I have this very vivid memory now of being in my parents' bedroom around the cat and just having conversations about the cat, talking about Rocko and when we got him and what he meant to us, and how valuable his time had been with my family. Because he was a super special cat. He was important to me, but ultimately he ended up being so much more important to my parents. In a variety of really key ways. So anyway, I'm gonna read some alerts, and then I'm gonna talk about how we got Rocko, and this is already this is me repeating some information. Rocko passed last night. And that meant that, like, the very last thing that I did last night before going to bed was make the vlog, and the vlog was just about him. So it's probably going to be a lot of similar information, but it also means it's fresh on my mind, so I can talk a little bit about it. And like I said, I've got some photos. I dug through some very, very old photos to find some pre-vlog stuff. So I'm prepared. Anyway, let me read some things. We got 38 months from Sapphire316. 200 bits from Wicked 3DS. This is my favorite Rocko memory is Vlog Day 113. It's a small piece of cheese. It's one of the cutest interactions you had with him. I'm thankful he had a long, happy life with a good family. I know that one, and that one's very good. Rocko is the OG vlog cat, and I think it's weird because, like, in modern times, for like a modern vlog audience that hasn't went back and watched a lot of the old videos, you know, they're familiar with just Sagan and Kepler, or more recently just Kepler. But, like, for the first few years on the vlog, like, the only cat, you know, featured is Rocko. So Rocko is there all the time. And when the vlog started, he was 3. So I got to capture a lot of his life. Obviously, I wasn't home for all of it, but he was, you know, pretty regularly featured while we lived in Myrtle Beach. So at least there's a good bit of footage that, you know, captures all of that. We got 21 months from CaveBat11, 32 from Swift for Sweeper, 57 from Aldo, 69 from Rondo, nice, 57 from Bucky Boy, 50 from Queer Quest, 41 from Boop Snoot, 31 from Mickey, 34, 35, 44 from Space Cat 0, 27 from Guy Extronaut, 57 from Fries Pikachu, 47 from Gamers, 52 from Samarolian. We had 1050 from Anise with the George 5-star rating. Thank you. 47 from Yuki, and 18 from Sapphire C. Thanks all. So yeah, let me tell you a little bit about how we got Rocko, and kind of like the effects on my family, because it's something that I've had a long time to think about, and I think that my my feelings on his value to my family has gotten, like, stronger over the years. It's not that his role changed, it's just that my understanding and appreciation of him grew, I guess, in some way. Yeah, so growing up, we had another cat in the house named Mittens, and Mittens was around before I was born. So when I was born, Mittens was already like 4 years old or something like that. And we had Mittens up until February 2005. She passed away. She was past 19. I think she was like almost to 20. She was almost like 20 years old. And she passed away February 2005, a month before my 16th birthday. And Mittens was a very sweet girl. She was also a very prissy queen, and she only liked my family. Full stop. Like, she liked me and my mom and my dad and nobody else at all. Like anyone came into the house, hiss, swat, just very much a family cat, and other people get the hell out of the house type cat. That was Mittens. And you know, I grew up with a cat in the house, and after Mittens passed in 2005, it was very weird for me, because I'm like, we've always had a cat. It's so weird for there to not be an animal in the house. And it's probably obvious from the vlog, but like, my parents are both animal people, especially my dad. My dad is a huge, huge animal lover, and having all of that love for our animal, and then all of a sudden the animal being gone was just a very strange experience. And so I spent my 16th year of life without a pet in the house. And after a year, we kind of had like a year to grieve, I guess, in a way. And then I had told my mom, I said, I loved Mittens a lot. I said, but the one stage that I never got to experience with Mittens was a kitten. I've never had a kitten. And, my parents adopted Mittens, or I guess it was less an adoption and more they found her. She was like I think she was a barn cat that they got. And she was just a tiny, tiny baby. And there's photos of Mittens, and she's a tiny, tiny baby. And, I told my mom, I was like, I think it would be nice, since we want to get another cat, I was like, to maybe get a kitten, so that's something that I could experience. And my parents were like, okay, yeah, let's do that. So July 23rd, 2006, it was a Sunday afternoon. We had went to a cat adoption place called Cattails, which is in North Carolina. It's either in like Sunset Beach or Holden Beach. It's like not too far over the South Carolina, North Carolina line. And we went there with a friend, Seth. Seth's been on the vlog before, so you remember Seth. You've probably seen Seth before. We went there with Seth, and we had taken a pet carrier with us. And we went into this room, and there's just all of these kittens like running around on the ground. And we had put the pet carrier down, and me and my parents were just interacting with all these different kittens. And we were there for a little bit. And we're looking at the kittens, and we're looking at their demeanor, we're looking at all this stuff, and then at some point I turned around and looked, and I realized that there was a kitten in our carrier. That the kitten had already went and got in the carrier and had curled up and laid down. And I was like, that one. That one. Pet owners often have stories about how their pet chose them. And this was that in an extremely literal sense. So we took Rocko home that day. He wanted to come home with us, so we let him. His name at Cattails, because they name all the cats, was originally Leo, and then we changed his name to Rocko. And I knew, leading up to that, I knew that I had wanted to get a cat, and I had been thinking about potential names, and Rocko was something that's already on my mind. So like, I got him in the car, and I was like, "You're Rocko now," And we loved that little guy. It was really nice to have another cat in the house for sure. I had never experienced a kitten. And it was wonderful to do that. I think the thing that was so different, though, is that I was very used to the demeanor of Mittens, who was a very specific type of cat, who was like, this is my family. I don't like anyone else. That's, And Mittens was also very particular, too. Like, Mittens was the type of cat like, hello, you can pet me 4 times. If you pet me a 5th time, too many times. She was that sort of cat. Rocko was a polar opposite. I had never seen a cat with a temperament like Rocko before. Like, Rocko would let you do anything to him. You could hold him for an indefinite amount of time. He did not care. He just purred. He was just so excited. Like, you could hold him. You could hold him upside down like a little baby. Like, for an infinite amount of time, he was just like, this is the best. Thank you. I will purr forever. And that was a pretty big moment for me because, like, I loved cats, but I had never seen a cat like this. I was like, oh, some cats let you just do this. Like, this was... My mom has always described Rocko as humble, which might sound a little strange to describe a cat, but I also totally understand why. He is. He just... What an extremely sweet animal. Just was totally cool with everything. It was like years and years and years into his life before I ever heard him hiss. For the longest time, we were like, I don't know if he knows how. Like, I don't think he can. Because we had never heard him do it. He was just a very, very sweet boy. But, the thing about Rocko is that leading up to getting Rocko, like earlier that month, like just a week or 2 before even, I had been with my family in Florida. And the reason I had been in Florida is because I was looking at schools. It was 2006. I was 17, and we were looking at colleges. I had went to check out Full Sail, and I think also at the time maybe we checked out SCAD on the same trip. But it was, in my mind, it was like between these 2 schools. I was like, I'm either going to do an accelerated education at Full Sail, or I'm going to do a more traditional timeline at SCAD. And, that meant that getting that kitten and bringing it into our lives, like, I was only going to be around for another year. And while it was true that I certainly had, plenty of breaks, and was home for those breaks, it's also, a situation where he very quickly was not my cat. My parents were taking care of Rocko. And when I transitioned to college, that was a sad thing for me because I was like, there's this cat that just came into my life. I've had him for a year, and now, I'm only going to be able to see him on breaks. I had school 30 weeks out of the year, and I would be home for the other bits. And, as I went through college, I kind of felt like that, like, I have a cat, and he's at home. And then I got out of school, and it was 2011, and I got married. And Mal and I moved to Columbia, so I wasn't even in Myrtle Beach. And then a year later, when we moved back to Myrtle Beach, it was 2012, and we adopted Sagan and Kepler. And I realized only later that as important as, I was to Rocko's story, Rocko wasn't my cat. Rocko wasn't for me. Rocko was for my parents. And as I got older, I appreciated Rocko's role in my parents' life so much more, because it allowed me to understand that, you know, as an only child, especially not only to being an only child, but like my parents not having any extended family around. In many ways, like, I was my parents' world. When I went to college, that was very difficult for my family. It was very, very difficult for my mom. And it's occurred to me in more recent years that, like, Rocko's role was super, super valuable in my family's life, because it gave my parents someone else in the house. It gave them someone else in the house. It gave them, you know, someone else to take care of. And it was, you know, it was, for the longest time, it was like, oh, well, you know, this is Steven's cat and he's off at college. And then, you know, I realized later, like, that's not what was happening at all. Like, Rocko was a very helpful and necessary animal to ease my parents in the transition that I was making from youth to adulthood. And that's awesome. I'm really grateful for that. I'm really, really grateful for that. And in some ways, because Rocko stuck around for so long, he really transitioned and helped my family through a lot, actually. Because not only was it this transition for me going to college and then getting married and moving away and then coming back to, you know, the area where my parents were, but then also my, you know, like, we got into the pandemic, and, you know, Mal and I took the pandemic and the safety of people, especially my parents, like, very seriously, and we weren't seeing a lot of them, and I know that was very helpful to have Rocko during that time. And more recently, you know, Mal and I making the move to North Carolina, that's big. You know, that's big. That has not been easy for my parents. Absolutely not at all. And I know that having Rocko around really helped them as we made that transition. It's been 2 years since we've lived here, and I think having Rocko around for these last 2 years has been really nice for that purpose too. So yeah, he was a stupendous animal. I loved him very dearly, but in recent years I recognize not just the value that he had to me, but the immense value that he had to my family. And for that, I will be forever grateful. Anyway, like a long monologue. I'm going to read a few more alerts, and then I'm going to show some photos, because I have some photos here of my boy. And let me also click. Yeah, okay. I picked out a few songs like real quick before stream, and I was like, oh, try and find some calm stuff so we're not just hit with, you know, the Doom theme or something. But it's also a pretty limited list, so like I'm like, I have to like restart it. We got 6 months from Echo Tree Keeper, 53 from Seemingly Jess, 53 also from Chill Days. We had 60 from Big O26 Shen. That's a 5. Congrats on 5. 49 months from Buttery Inkling. We have 300 bits from Chill Days who says, my favorite memory of Rocko was the time your mom tried to get him to play dead and he just stared at her. I don't think I've ever seen Chaz laugh that much. One of the nice things about Rocko being around for as long as he was, and especially for me and Mal living in Myrtle Beach as long as we did, close to my parents, is that so many of my friends got to meet him, which was really, really nice. It's a situation where even though he was ostensibly my family's cat, my friends knew who he was. They got to meet him on many different occasions. You know, if we were over there at all, like, you got to see Rocko. And he was always very chill, and did not know tricks. I think the story behind that was like my mom was like, he did this once, and then therefore it was like he can do it anytime on demand. And I'm like, that's not how tricks work. It requires training him to do the thing, as opposed to like, I saw him do this once, now do it again. Didn't work like that. We got 20 months from AJU Mitch, 53 from Jacket K. 300 bits from Dishnet says, my condolences to you for the loss of Rocko. He was a fantastic cat, and it's amazing he lived as long as he did. My family has a very wild history with cat life, cat longevity. Because, you know, Rocko lived to be 18, and the previous cat, Mittens, like, she was almost 20. You know, and I think one of the issues that I had, and the other thing is that my mom's previous cat, before that, her cat that she had at home, that she, you know, got married and left, and then would come back and visit her dad's cat, my grandfather's cat, who I remember in childhood, was a calico cat named Candy. She lived to be 21. So you can imagine, if you will, why Sagan's passing was such a shock to me, because I grew up in a household where cats lived to be 21 and 19 and like these very, very, you know, old ages. So there was no part of me that, you know, Sagan at age 7, I was like, oh, well, you know, Sagan's gonna pass away at age 7. Like, no part of me thought that. So yeah, obviously things have changed after we lost Sagan at 7. I'm like, oh wait, yeah, okay, yeah, cats like people can go at any time. So I'm a little more grounded into the mortality of Kepler as a result, and I'm grateful that Kepler's made it to 12, but I'm also not kidding myself, you know, that he's gonna make it to, you know, 20. Like, he's not gonna make it to 20, and I've much better accepted that now. Right, bud? But hopefully we'll get more time with you than we ever thought. We already have in some ways. April was very rough, and it's already June. You did it. You've done well. Anyway, we had 300 bits from Colton, who says, losing a pet is never easy, no matter if you can see it coming. Good vibes to you and your family. It's true. It's true. You know, I feel like at this point I've kind of run the gamut in the ways that I can experience a pet and their health, right? I've had pets in my life that lived to be extremely old and died of just old age. I have had a pet die suddenly out of the blue, which I was not expecting. And, you know, now with Kepler, I have a different situation where I know his time is limited. So between those three situations, I'm like, man, I've really experienced the entirety of pet ownership. You know, like giving him meds and stuff every day. I'm just like, you know, I know you don't like to be pilled, man. I was like, but this is a necessity. This is what we got to deal with. I've also dealt with, in some extent, I've dealt with the different types of death with people as well too, because my grandfather, my mom's dad, also passed very suddenly. It was not expected at all, and you know, that compared to my dad's father, who, you know, we watched deteriorate slowly over the course of, you know, 15 or 20 years. Like, it's different, but it's also super different with an animal compared to people. With a person, they can tell you what's going on. Most times, I guess it depends on the condition. Animal can't, you know, so it's a very unique experience to be the caretaker of an animal who has entrusted you with everything. You know, to an animal, you are their entire world, and it's just a very different thing from a human's experience. Do you want to come over here, or do you just want to sit right off screen on the coffee table? You do you, man. You do you. Let's see. Haley says animals are innocent, and it seems less fair. Agreed. They are sweet. My mom has always been a huge empath for animals, and the fact that she's used that word, innocent. They're innocent, and they exist solely to, you know, to make our lives better, to provide happiness and joy, and in exchange we take care of them. You're just gonna sit on that coffee table forever. We had 29 months from Devoid Art, 42 from Paranite, 15 from Gutang Clan, and 51 from Thunderstriker. Yeah. That's also nice. Taking care of beloved people and animals at the end of their life is a privilege, a painful privilege, but one nonetheless. Yeah. I agree with that, Haley. Anyway, let me show photos. I've got photos to show. I want to show you some photos. I had to really dig around to find some of these. As a reminder, the vlog started in late 2009. At that time, Rocko was already 3 years old, so I very deliberately tried to find photos before the vlog. So as far as I know, everything is before the vlog. I don't know what order Chaz put these in, so I'll just... You might be able to tell based on how big he is, but yeah, I'll tell you how old he is. But in all of these, he should be less than 3. Yeah. So let's take a look at some of these photos. So you can tell he's like a teenager here. We got him in July 2006. He was born in May 2006. So this is probably in the first 6 months. This, I think, is the first photo I ever took. This might be his gotcha day. I'm not sure. He is a tiny little guy. Haley says, "Oh, that shirt, it's gone now." But yeah, he's just a little baby. This is a memorable photo for me because before I went to college, I took this photo and I printed it and I put it up on the wall of the office where my parents are, and I think it might still be there. This is Rocco's first Christmas. So he was born in May, so he would have been like 6 or 7 months old here. He got a little hat on. He's riding on my dad's back. This is that same Christmas. It was Christmas 2006, so the Wii came out. So there's a Wii there. He's just exploring. It's so weird to see him so young, right? Because cats are only in their teenage state for a very short amount of time. Here's Rocko passed out on my dad's on my dad's leg while my dad is also passed out. And again, these are all from pretty early on. He's probably a year old here. Definitely less than 2. He got into some fabric, and I took some photos. Yeah. I was trying to find some stuff of him when he was real young. And I have other photos too. They're extremely hard to find. One of the things that I've never gotten around to doing, it's been like a lifelong thing that I want to do, and I swear I'll get to it someday, is organizing photos better. I want to go through all the photos I have and like tag them with the people that are in them, or the animals, or the dates, or the locations. I want to be able to do that so I can very quickly and easily find all of that stuff. And I haven't gotten there yet. So I spent quite a bit of time right before bed. No, it was before I filmed the vlog, actually. It was before I filmed the vlog last night. I was like, I want to look through some photos so I can find some stuff to show in the vlog and to also show on Breakfast Stream. And I wanted to find those photos before I did the vlog so I would know what I could insert. So, yeah. He was a very sweet boy. He's just a ton of fun. He was an energetic kitten. And I think it was really fun for my parents to have a kitten in the house again after 20 years. I think that was fun for them. We got 24 months from Hang W. Bernie. That's a 2. Congrats on the 2. And 67 months from Dovey, from Sephiroth. Thank you. Anyway, I think that's it. My heart goes out mostly to my parents. This has been sad for me, absolutely, but like, this is very difficult for them. Very, very difficult for them. I think anyone that has watched any of the vlogs where my parents interact with Rocko, it's very clear how much they cared about him. And, now the house is empty. And I know that that's just difficult for them. He was especially my dad's buddy. My dad, my dad is at home all the time, and in a big way was Rocko's caretaker for, being at home for whatever he needed. And I think it'll be really rough on my dad too, just because there was always someone there with him, and now there's not. So it's going to be lonely for both of my parents, and I hate that. I really hate that. Anyway, hopefully I'll see my parents again this summer. I'd really love for them to come up and visit, and I think they will. I don't know when exactly, but I'm hoping that they come up this summer and visit. I think that would be great for me and Mao, and I think it'd also be really great for them. Haley says you got a guest room ready to go. It's true. I got a guest room ready to go, and everything, guest related is on the first floor, which is great because like my dad has a lot of mobility issues. In our previous house, the guest room was on the second floor, and I remember when I moved in there, I was like, ugh, I hate this. But then we were only there 9 months before the owner wanted their house back, so then we had to move. So yeah, I really hope that they come visit, and I think they will. I think they will. Also, 64 months from Waste and Aeon. Thank you. Okay. That's it. This did go longer than I thought it would. I wasn't exactly sure how much time I would spend this morning, but it's 9:45. I know that this certainly makes the previous vlog that came out hit different, but maybe not too different. I mean, like, I was certain in the vlog that, like, I wasn't going to see him again. The next vlog that comes out where we leave, Myrtle Beach, is the last time that Rocko, will be featured on the vlog. I mean, aside from the video that I made yesterday where I talk about his life and show photos and stuff. That next video is not ready yet. It'll be out when I'm able. I've been dealing with all sorts of other stuff. Getting some stuff done. Patrons know I've been busy. I just released a Patreon video yesterday. So patrons, there is a new video to watch. And that goes over some of the stuff that's been going on and some of the stuff that's upcoming too. So check that out if you get a chance. And like I said earlier, Mal will be streaming at 1. She's still painting, and she's okay. She's okay. We'd already, spent time talking about Rocko, after I'd come home from the trip, and I spent some time talking to her last night about it too, so we're both doing okay. But I sincerely appreciate y'all being here this morning. I appreciate the kind words, and I also really appreciate people sharing some fond memories they have of some of the videos that he was in. That's really nice. The other thing is that, and I don't know when, Rocko exists in this pre-vlog era where I had a Sony Handycam and was shooting stuff all the time. And, I've got just this box of, mini DV tapes at my parents' house, like 150 of them. And someday, in the far-off future, I really hope to dig through those tapes and find out what wild memories are on them from a time long ago. And I'm sure that there's probably some Rocko stuff there, too. So, I look forward to finding some unknown Rocko footage in the future. And wild fashions! Yeah! Probably some really wild fashions. Okay. 300 bits from Waste and Aeon, who says, sorry to hear about the loss. Cherish Kepi and give lots of love. Absolutely. Absolutely. Love you too, Haley. Alright. Thanks for being here. It's Tuesday. Mal will be streaming in 3 hours, doing some painting. I will be back tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern to do Super Metroid. It's going to be fun. And there's, patrons know, there's some fun stuff coming up this weekend. So stay on the lookout. Oh yeah, Disco Only is a show. I'm like 95% sure Disco Only is happening tonight. There was nothing definitively said, but it's like pretty. I think so. Yes. Adrian says first Chaos Cookie is Saturday, apparently. I don't know. I don't do those. But I'll be at Disc Only. I'm a busy human adult with many things to do. And I wish John and everyone well on Chaos Cookie. I'm like, I can't do that. But I will be at Disc Only tonight. So I'll see you tonight at whatever time that show is. 9? 9. All right, folks. That's it. 68 months from Skit Scott at the buzzer. And, yeah. That's not a scratching post, buddy. You can't do that. That's not for scratching. You have a scratching post on the other side. He just stares at me like, what? All right, folks. Have yourselves a wonderful Tuesday. Love you all very much. Thanks for being here. And Mal, see you at 1 for painting.